It's called a salute to all nations, but mostly America.
Nope, not this time, Sam. This is all about the 4th of July, Independence Day in America. Well, the way I remember it anyway. I'm Victor, and straight out of the GEN Xperience, the last day of school was a distant memory from a month before, and Independence Day was the high point of summer break, sometimes even more than a family vacation. It was the only holiday worth mentioning during that break, those short 3 months of unadulterated childhood before you had to face growing up. Well, at least starting a new grade. We looked forward to the 4th. We understood it was all about celebrating our independence from the rule of England. We learned that in school, along with how we became a nation in 1776. Is that still taught today? Even so, it was the pageantry, the busy excitement, the food, and the booms that we anticipated most of all. Summer had been just as carefree as the summer before. Getting up whenever we wanted, playing outside every day, outings to the city pool, picnics in the park, chasing the ice cream man, barefoot and riding bikes, playing with our favorite toys, no homework, and no bedtime. The 4th of July wasn't any different, and yet it was a whole lot more. Many towns pulled out all the stops with a 4th of July parade. Did yours? Complete with a court of beauty pageant winners, local war veterans, and certainly enough red, white, and blue bunting to wrap the Statue of Liberty. Waving the stars and stripes was only the beginning as we cheered marching bands while flatbeds pulled by trucks depicted various tableaux of American Revolutionary history. With the town dripping in old glory, you and your family may have chosen to show your own true colors. And by that, I mean wearing the latest in homemade patriotic fashions. National pride was on display in every imaginable way. Betsy Ross would have been proud. Or embarrassed. The parade was just part of the celebration, and I'm not talking about all those 4th of July appliance sales. It was more than that, and at home, families were getting ready for their holiday shenanigans in a variety of ways, putting their flag in the holder that every family had fastened to the front of their house, beating the heat by sitting in the shade or throwing the ball around, while kids ran through sprinklers, filling their faces with that refreshing ice-cold summer treat, watermelon, and then spitting out the seeds. We might have been out of school, but adults had to work. However, the 4th had been a paid holiday since the 60s, and any reason to be able to gather was a good enough reason. It was always special when Dad was home from work and everything was closed so everyone could be together. Extended family and friends would often converge with covered dishes in hand. Pasta salad, chicken salad, potato salad, and every other variety to share came from far and wide. Barbecues started up and the scent of burning briquettes and lighter fluid titillated our senses and had us salivating for what was cooking. Partygoers prepared with flimsy paper plates on checkerboard decor complete with the Colonel's chicken front and center. The easiest meal to assure a good time came in a bucket. Hot dogs and hamburgers with all the fixins, chicken, potato chips, pickles, and more set the scene. And that was just the basics. There was coleslaw, baked beans, and yes, even deviled eggs. Were you the family who took your food on the go? The ones who packed it up, unfurled a blanket on the grass, and spread their goodies for a 4th of July picnic in the park? This was common as seeing so many of your friends from school or coworkers doing the exact same thing. For those who didn't want to cook out and avoid the smoke of the barbecue ruled by fathers and other heads of the household at home, claiming a small piece of land to nibble, visit, and carve out a perfect viewing spot for the inevitable hometown firework display was the next best thing. Prior to the extravaganza, you might be entertained by a local band playing a mini concert for your enjoyment. Not every town had a pyrotechnic demonstration to dazzle the masses, but you could be assured of the countless neighborhood firework displays that were gearing up for their own big show. Many explosives for personal use had been being stockpiled throughout the week, bought at any number of annual pop-up stands on corners or in parking lots, selling dangerously exciting colored fire to anyone with money. The battle for the best blaze was about to heat up. After being stuffed with pie and ice cream, the lawn chairs were occupied by the many spectators sipping their country time lemonade, Lipton instant iced tea, or even cracking open a cold beer to welcome the sunset. It got dark late, so the screaming and laughing in the front yard wasn't new for this time of year. But as the night sky drew darker, the atmosphere would change and the lighting was just right for an explosion of colorful sparks and surprising blasts. Of course, There was the early firework entries while there was still enough light. Who doesn't remember their first fireworks? I mean the ones they thought you might be capable of lighting yourself. We spent the day throwing little red snapper or poppets on the ground at people's feet, little explosive bangs of silver fulminate wrapped tightly in white paper and protected within some sawdust in a box. But as dusk arrived, you switched to smoke bombs, harmless little devils that needed some light to see the colored gas streaming from the dense ball. Or how about cobra or magic black snakes? To this day, I'm not sure how the hell this works. It has to be black magic for sure, as these G.I. Joe-sized hockey pucks quickly and uncontrollably grow into ashen worms when touching them with fire. Afterwards, they look a lot like the remnants of the bodies at Pompeii. It wasn't long before the block began to become emblazoned with light, flashing between shadows and pulsating colorful movement accompanied by whistles, popping, crackling, and simple booms as households took turns lighting their arsenal, while other nearby displays or the not-too-distant town showcase of exploding light illuminated the sky around us. And everybody was out, sitting in lawn chairs, neighbors on their porch, and on blankets captivated by the homegrown firework displays. All while someone was always writing their name with the obligatory sparkler. We kids knew there would be an age we'd be offered the opportunity to light our first real firework. Not just ground bloom flowers, something bigger. Maybe even the illegally crimped Piccolo Pete, the high-pitched screaming fountain that when pinched just right before lighting will eventually simply explode in mid-high note, cutting off that high squeal into a surprise detonation. Classic 4th of July. If they weren't being lit by a cigarette, you might use a punk, a long thin wooden stick like incense with that faint glow of a hot ember on the end. No need to keep lighting this tool, and it acted as some distance between your hand and that unassuming wick that leads to the possible finger-obliterating blast. But if anything did go wrong, you had the hose already running preset in the lawn just in case, right? Well, just as long as no one handed you a live Roman candle to hold.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
Neighbors competed for the best fireworks showcase, but it was all in good fun. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed what other families were doing, and like bowlers on the line, you took turns with other dads and siblings lighting off the next big thing. Everyone watched in awe at one another's light show, which made certain to prolong the celebration as late as possible. And let's face it, we didn't want it to end. But all too soon, the ammunition was depleted. The last bottle rocket launched, the final firecracker and fountains lie in shreds and cinders, and the last pinwheel nailed to a phone pole or tree had stopped rotating. The oohs and ahs had dwindled, the distant explosions had steadily become further apart until they finally ceased. Neighbor homes were already shuttered and dark, and outside was silent, except for the bugs that had finally dared to chirp again. Dogs came out from hiding, and the celebration was coming to an end. Someone must have turned on the TV, as the national celebration of the day was playing live from Washington, or being replayed for people on the West Coast, like me. Everything seemed exactly as it was that morning. Everything except for that lone figure outside quietly using the hose to wash down the sidewalk launch site and looking for any possible burning embers to extinguish. Swept to the curb, the debris cleanup could wait until tomorrow. It wasn't like we had school or anything. A celebration of excitement filled with bombs bursting in air and rockets' red glare was over. I wonder if our 4th of July is anything like what Francis Scott Key saw when writing the Star-Spangled Banner. No matter, the fireworks we use to commemorate the day are a lot like the 13-gun salute and ceremonial cannon fire at the first Independence Day celebration of 1777, a year from adopting the Declaration of Independence. But in that moment, at that time in our lives, it was all just a celebration of family, surrounded by loved ones and friends, those dearest and nearest to us being together, all taking part in a shared experience that created memories we never forget. There would be many more 4th of Julys like this, and just like every year, after the smoke cleared and the smell of sulfur dissipated, there was still plenty of summer left to bask in. Enjoy your 4th in any way you celebrate. Just continue to make memories like we did in the GEN Xperience. Thanks for watching this holiday bonus show, and I hope you clicked like and even subscribed. There's a brand new show that'll debut this Friday, so tune in. And until next time.